Last but not least is our favorite go-to guy for our car questions. This is Joe Conant from Conant Automotive out in Stoughton. Thanks for joining us, Joe.
Thank you.
We have car questions. I know I've had a burning car question. I kind of hope my dad's not watching. I keep getting my check engine light. No kidding. And the most recent, it goes on and it goes off, and that's the hard part. And so the other day, it went on, and I thought, okay, I'm going to take care of this thing once and for all, and I made the appointment, and I'm quite literal here. I got in my car and pulled out of the driveway, and it went off.
Okay.
And I've been told that you can't even diagnose it if it goes off. So talk to us about the check engine light.
Yes.
Okay, the biggest thing with a check engine light on is it happens when you're coming home from work at 5 o'clock at night. And it can be frustrating because you don't know what's going on. You don't know if you're going to make it home. You don't know if it's going to start the next morning.
Or if you should drive or stop. Or
So a lot of shops, and especially what we do, is like if a customer calls up and, yep, my check engine light's on, we'll say, come on down. We'll scan it to see the severity of the code because that's what's stored in the computer of the vehicle. And what we'd use is a tool like this, which is like a $50 code reader. And a lot of like parts stores will do this, offer this, like come and read, we'll read the codes for free. This is not a diagnostic tool, and a lot of people think that it is, so they'll think they'll be able to fix their car with this, or the parts store is going to be able to sell them a sensor or whatnot. This will tell you how bad the code is and if you can drive the car. So then you can set up the appointment. So then we would note the code, and then you can be on your way, set up the appointment for a day or two later. And then when you come in, we would use, everything is going laptop. Let me turn it around. Whereas old days, which I should say, the last 20 years, you would get a big red box that would be a scanner, they would call it. Well, nowadays everything is being software, where we buy the software from the OE manufacturers and put it on the laptop. So we can touch basically 90% coverage out there. And that's how you diagnose a check engine light.
Are you talking coverage of the vehicle or like different makes and models?
Coverage of the car line, like General Motors, Ford, Chrysler, European, the Asian. I mean, we can take care of all of them. And most shops can.
So in my situation where the light went off, can you still do it?
Because the computer still has that stored in the system.
Oh, really?
Like you could drive the biggest mistake people make is let the check engine light go. And
we all look at each other, guilty.
The thing is you got one little light bulb that tells you, the computer, that it senses a fault, that, okay, the computer can store maybe 350 different codes. So when that light comes on, let's say it's just a real simple thing like a gas cap's faulty. Okay, you let that go. I don't have time to fix it. Well, 2 months later, that light's still on. You're thinking that it's a gas cap. Well, then it's this problem. And another week later, it's this problem.
You don't even realize that's something else.
So that instead of being a $50 repair, the first time to get that light off, you come in a year later, and it's a $600 repair.
Right, because you think it's that first small incident.
Right.
Wow.
So that's very important. That light should never be on. It should always be off. Even though somebody read it with a code reader or whatever, a scanner, and oh, we'll put that off. Well, tomorrow, we're going to fix it tomorrow. Well, tomorrow never comes, and then I run into that a lot. And it's not nice to give a customer an estimate for $600, $700, $800.
No, it's not nice at all.
No, always have that light off.
So the on-off doesn't mean we're in the clear when it's off.
No.
No.
And the thing is, when that light comes on, it could be something real simple, like I said, a gas cap, or it could be something more severe. The biggest thing is when the check engine light flashes, that means something needs to be fixed immediately.
Okay, flashing.
And that means that something expensive could fail if you continue driving with it flashing.
Are you listening?
Yeah, certainly
that's the biggest thing.
Absolutely.
But the majority of shops out there, if you call them up and say, yep, my check engine light's on, a lot of shops should say, yep, come right in, we'll read the code quick, note it down, and then we can schedule you in. That's the best way to do it. That way, you know what's going on. Instead of sleeping, going to bed at night wondering what's wrong with your car, you can have a little peace of mind, and that's the important thing.
And let's talk a little bit about the scheduling process. So when we call to tell you something's wrong with our vehicle, what kinds of information do you want when we're calling to make an appointment? What does that look like for you?
We like it. I'm glad you asked that. We like it when people call up and say, okay, my car is doing this, it happens at this time when I'm turning or when I'm driving, it's making this noise, and so on. It's so nice when people, and I'll say females, call up and say that. And then it's so much easier to work with.
Because we don't know what's wrong.
Well,
We just
a lot
know
of people don't.
what
Well,
noise
my
it
boyfriend
makes.
said it was this, and my dad said it was this, and you don't want any
And
of that.
sometimes they can be right, but a lot of times people will go on the computer and Google search, and that's when it really gets crazy, because then they're making all these assumptions, either what it's going to take to fix it. And a lot of I would say a lot of the males that call up will tell you what's wrong with the car
Instead of
or
the
the truck or
symptoms.
whatever. And for instance, and I hope I don't make this customer mad at me, because it's kind of funny. The customer called up and said, how much for the exhaust system on my truck? Well, okay, instead of, if the way the scenario should have went, Joe, my truck is making a lot of noise. I think it's from the muffler or whatever. Can I get in and have you guys give me an estimate? Sure, no problem. No, it went to, how much for my exhaust system on my truck? Well, then I shot him a number. Well, it's going to cost you probably about $1,500 to $2,000. And he went silent, and I said to him, well, we're looking at exhaust manifolds, we're looking at catalytic converter, we're looking at, you said exhaust system.
The whole
And I was being
shebang.
kind of smart, but I guess that's my personality, and yeah, he's coming in and we're going to inspect his exhaust, and
Right.
it's probably going to be a quarter of that. So
So you're one. Well, and I would actually appreciate an overestimate versus an under. So that's nice. But you're wanting the symptoms
right.
of what's happening with your vehicle,
And let you do the diagnosing.
and let you
Yep.
do let the expert do the work.
Well, we'll have to bring you back, because I know we always have more questions.
Thanks,
I
guys.
know, we didn't even get to mine.
We're
Sorry.
out of time. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Joe Conant from Conant Automotive in Stoughton. And that's it for today. Thanks to all of our guests. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time on Girl Talk.